Thanks for listening to the Voiceover Ladder. This podcast is not instructional, but it's a conversational pile of opinions on what has or hasn't worked for some people. It's just advice, and nothing's guaranteed. And like life, you try some things out and you see what happens. We do appreciate you listening, though, and look forward to your comments on our podcast and ideas you might have for future shows. And until then, keep on grinding.
Now back to the Voiceover Ladder.
It's a long way to the top, but if you take it step by step, you'll make it. Let's climb that VO ladder with our hosts, Troy Holden and Will Vincent.
Welcome back to the Voiceover Ladder. Troy Holden here in Nashville, Tennessee, or nearby, and
Will Vincent here in Minnesota, somewhere in the middle of the state.
That's a good place to be right now. You know, it's
I'm north
better
of the
time of
snow.
year. Well, you know, it's about time for that crap to melt.
Yeah, most
It's
of it
about
did.
time.
It was 60 on Saturday. Most of the snow's already gone.
Nice.
Then it snowed again today, but not nearly as much as it did in Colorado or even down south in Minnesota. The same huge storm from Colorado hit Minnesota, but just south.
We're just getting the rain, and I'm hoping it'll stay that. I have seen it snow here in April. It's been a long, long time, but I've seen it do it. Hopefully not. Today we're on a little different subject. We've covered a lot of things in the past several episodes, from equipment and coaching and getting started and organizing yourself. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit, or today, depending on when you're listening, we're going to talk a little bit about what if you got to travel and you still got to work. How are you going to pull that off? What kind of things do you need to take with you? And how in the world, in a big echoey hotel room, are you going to make a decent a VO that you can send out?
Good topic.
Could be tough.
Timely topic. I'm going on a trip in a couple weeks.
How about that? Wonder why this subject came up. Can't imagine. And, you know, a lot of people you see on Fiverr, a lot of people will raise their prices way up and increase their delivery days and hope nobody orders. And you probably saw the post a few weeks ago. Somebody did that and they got bombed with orders.
Yep, they got.
They
totally
literally
slammed.
got bombed. Yeah, and you never know.
She wanted to take the weekend off, so she cranked her prices up like 300% or something. Just got totally slammed, which is awesome. You know.
Yeah, I don't guess I'd complain. I'd be scared to death I couldn't do what I needed to do with it, but I don't know. But we're going to try to overcome that today. We'll talk about some things that maybe will help you get away with it, and whether it's how to pack a travel bag or.
On that note, before we get into the stuff, I think people just need to stop being scared to use the out-of-office feature on Fiverr. It's different than it was before. You know, you actually, it's not just to set yourself away. You put yourself unavailable for a specific amount of time. And, you know, I've heard many, many people mention that whatever alleged issues there used to be have been resolved. And
well, that would make sense. It should work. It really should. That's a good feature.
You know, the anecdotal evidence that I have is I had a gig that was paused for an entire month, and I unpaused it, and within the next day or two hit the most impressions ever for that gig. So
well, see, there you go.
I don't think it's anything to be afraid of.
You know, I still wonder, and we sure don't want to segue off onto this in the middle of this, but there are so many things that people say are true on there that may not be. There's a lot of things that I hear about that. The pause gigs was one of them. Cancellations was one of them. You know, cancellations can hurt you in some ways, but if you go to customer service and show, hey, these weren't my fault, the buyers don't see those. They might see it in a rating you have, but they don't know how many they were and how many dollars it was. But I had one that was phenomenally expensive. It was an $800 cancellation for an audiobook that they accidentally ordered, and you know, they were still able to go through and choose all this stuff and choose their delivery and all that, but I accidentally ordered it. Well, let me add to that. 2 weeks later, that buyer is banned from Fiverr. They're not on there anymore. So, that was no accident. That's somebody on there sabotaging or something. But I'm with you on that. I hope the out of office thing works. I've been tempted to try it if I ever had to be away a couple of days, because I'm usually never gone more than a couple of days. And, yeah, I sure don't want to have to go through 12 gigs and raise prices and change things just for a couple of days. That's a pain. It's just
and stupid. You shouldn't have to.
Yeah, it is.
But there's lots of folklore around Fiverr. Heck, even just the fact that Fiverr's no good. Everybody believes, Fiverr's no good. You can't get any good work there. You don't want to go there. Or all the work that's done on Fiverr is crap. And, whoever gets work done there is going to go off and find somebody else to do it better for more later because they got crap. Whatever. Yeah, sure, that happens. That happens everywhere.
It does.
You work direct with somebody and they do a mediocre job. You end up finding somebody else to do it again. Mm-hmm. It happens, But it's not inherently Fiverr. Fiverr isn't inherently bad. It's not inherently cheap. Yeah, there's $5 gigs, whatever. That's a whole separate issue.
And you got to look at, too, the stuff that even we're still doing, some of it. It's not stuff these other VO people want to do anyway. They're not going to do it.
It's not really stuff we want to do either.
Not for anywhere in near those budgets. I mean, I was talking to somebody earlier today who has been there, done that. They've made the big money. And, the question was, well, what do you make on there if you do a 3-minute thing, or a 6-minute thing? And I said, well, it could be anywhere from $50 to $200, depending on what. I'd never do that for less than $400. Right. You can say and do that because you're at a different level. But I'm right now pretty happy to get those $100 2 and 3 minute things, because they are, they're even rare for us at times. But I'm with you. There are some good paying jobs there. There are people making a lot of money on there, and this is the new wave of voiceover. It's the face has changed. It's no longer just agents, just studios. It's just totally changed. So that just means when we travel, we got to be able to crank something out pretty decent. And so you're traveling. What's your game plan?
Well, I'm still undecided as to whether or not I'm actually going to do any recording while I'm traveling, other than maybe some auditions. But even the auditions need to sound good. So I put together a little kit, and it's not quite finished yet. I need to figure out how I'm going to set things up. But basically, I have a small interface that's a single channel. I have a little pencil mic that I bought that's about 4 inches long and about as big around as the XLR jack. It's a small diaphragm condenser. Sounds pretty good. And then I've got, since I've finally migrated into the whisper room from my blanket fort that I had before, I've got all the parts from that. So I'm going to take 1 or 2 of the blankets with, and maybe some of the PVC, and set something up with the microphone inside. And then I also have an iPad, and I installed an app on the laptop that allows me to share the screen onto the iPad. Now the newer versions of the iPad have this. It's called Sidecar, but you have to have a newer version, newer than what I have, and I'm not going to go buy a new iPad just to be able to do it. That's stupid. Plus, there's also some cross-platform apps that'll do it already. Whereas Sidecar is specifically a Mac-only thing. There are versions of this. I don't even remember what it's called at the moment, but there are versions of this app, or the same kind of app, that you can run on Windows, you can run on Mac, and then it'll go with an iPad or an Android tablet or phone. So I could mirror onto, an iPhone or an Android phone. That'd be way too small to be usable, but I could do it. So that way I can have the screen and have the laptop outside so that, the fan isn't interfering and all the same kind of stuff. Now, obviously, that's more than you'd want to carry with you on a plane. You're not going to haul a big sound blanket with you and stuff. That's just too much. But you've got options, I think, in a hotel room, right? There's pillows on the bed. There's the big comforter on the bed. Couch cushions a lot of times. You just got to do kind of the best you can to build some kind of little fort.
I was telling you earlier, I saw a post on Facebook, and if I knew who put it up, I'd give them all the credit for it because I'd never seen this before. But they had taken one of the side upholstered chairs and flipped it up on the couch, and which got it, 2.5, 3 feet off the ground. They were down on their knees and had their head stuck in the chair with a comforter over the top of their head over the chair, which was probably pretty doggone dead in there. But I'm with you. The thing that bothers me or worries me is I'll have a laptop, and if the fan kicks on, I'm done. So and chances are it will. So that was my worry.
I had pretty much constantly.
Yeah, they do. I had looked at. There are several pretty decent mics you can plug into an iPhone that do a pretty decent job. That was another thing I thought about, but I haven't tested or seen it tested to know how well it works. But that might be a deal like you're talking about, especially if it's just some auditions, because, I know on some of the platforms you can audition right onto the site through your phone. And if you got a decent mic running through there, you might could sit in your car or get in this chair comforter thing and probably get a pretty decent sound.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about the Apogee Mic Plus.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the one I'd heard. Yep.
It's not cheap. I mean, it's like a $250 mic.
And I think Shure has one out the same way, but I can't remember the number, name, whatever. But I think they had one. But I guess
I've heard people say it's equally as good as a 416 or a TLM 102 in a studio when it's hooked up to your phone and you're on the go, so long as the environment is quiet. And really, I think that's kind of the case for most mics. Granted, they're not all that good. And if you really listen, you can hear a difference. But most people probably can't hear a difference between a $50 mic and a $500 mic.
True. Most
unless
you're right.
Unless the environment is crap. And so that's another thing you could consider too, is you could get just a cheap, get that Fifine 670 or 690, whatever it is, the $50 USB mic. Sounds great, and it's amazingly good for the price. And then you don't have to deal with the interface or anything else, and
Right. That's kind of going to be my initial stab, is I'm going to take the Fifine, or the guy in another video the other day was calling it Fifine. I don't know where he came up with that, but I have no idea. He could be right.
Fee-fi fo fum.
Yeah, it's the Fifine fo fum. I thought I'd try that and see if I could make it work, just to see. I have done an audition on voices.com on my phone and got the job. And I know a lot of people say, really? Well, let me tell you what I followed up behind it. I sent the initial because I'd just seen it. I knew it was something I wanted to try and get. And when I sent it in, I said, this is on my phone, and I'll send you a revision on this when I'm home in my studio later today. But I wanted to get this in because I'd really like to do this for you. So I don't know if it was the eagerness that helped me get the job. I'm sure it wasn't the car audition. I went out in my car at lunch and did it on my phone, and it wasn't terrible. It was a little bit, not reverby, but I could tell that, it wasn't as clean as what I could normally get, but it really wasn't bad. Being in the car, I was really surprised. So, there's another worst case. If if it's just an audition, if you tell them, hey, I'm just doing this on my phone, I'll be back in my studio tomorrow or whatever, maybe you can get away with that. I don't know. It's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts and all this stuff, isn't it?
It sure is. I mean, I think the bottom line is do the best that you can and put together, if you're going to be traveling a lot, put together a dedicated travel kit of some sort, and if that's, Vocal Booth To Go has some, kind of similar to the Isovox. I don't know what the prices are. They're probably more than I'd want to pay, but it's basically a sound blanket that folds down into like a messenger bag size thing that you can mount on top of a stand, and it pops up, and then it's got a thing that goes over you. So it's kind of similar in that way to the Isovox, where you get your head and shoulders inside of it. But it's not as big and bulky. It's sound blankets, which if you were in a hotel room that was quiet, but, reverberant, that would be all you'd need. So whatever your solution is, ideally you want to figure out something to treat the space, but, you can build a fort out of pillows and blankets in a hotel room. But get yourself a dedicated kit. So either, some kind of an interface and a laptop and a mic, or a USB mic that, you've tested and you determined is good enough for your voice. Because that's the other thing, is mics are all different for everybody's voice, right?
Isn't that true?
So you need to make sure that your mic is going to work for you. The other
let
thing
me
you
ask
could
a
get is
computer
a standalone recorder.
True. Very true. Let me ask you a computer question. You'll know this. So what if I want to buy a dedicated laptop that I'm going to travel with? If I buy the solid state drives, do they not run as loud? Are they quieter? Or is there something I could go get that wouldn't make noise?
Sure. The newer Mac Air, I don't think the MacBook Pro has it yet. The new ARM silicone chip, the M1 in the MacBook Air. Yes, it has a fan. I think it has a fan. Anyway, what I understand is the fan never comes on because it just doesn't get hot enough. It's the same chip that they use in the iPad in a regular computer. And performance-wise, it's fantastic. The specs are incredible. The only problem with it is a lot of plugins aren't quite ready for that yet. Now, I know you're a Windows guy, so that probably doesn't really help you. I don't know offhand. I'm maybe a what are they called? The Windows tablet.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I actually have one of those at work. Surface Pro or something.
Yeah, maybe that.
Yeah, that might work. I'm just
still have
curious.
USB on them and stuff.
Yeah, and of course, folks can go out and research that. And we may have some people in our group that have traveled, and they may have some ideas. I mean, heck, drop them in the comments on the page. If there's something you've done that's really worked well and it's reasonable. I mean, we're always looking for the cheap way out. But, if you've already done some of this, that'd be great to know and had good results with it. Now, I'm hesitant. I dread this because I haven't traveled in so long.
If you're going to travel, and you're going to travel a lot, and you're going to do VO, you're going to inevitably end up doing some VO on the road. So some kind of a road kit makes sense. If you're looking for an interface, a cheap interface, what I just got is the Behringer Euphoria UMC22, which is the little brother of the 4-channel interface that I started with. I've since upgraded to the SSL, but there's nothing wrong with this Behringer at all. The preamps are fantastic, really quiet, really high quality, and it's solid metal. The thing is built like a tank, which is great for the road, right? Throw this thing in a bag and you're set. It's $50. Yeah. Now, if you wanted to something a little bit more self-contained, you might look at like a Zoom H4 or the PodTrack P4 that I just saw the other day. I've seen the prices on that as low as $150, brand new. And that's 4 channels, 4 mic channels, and it'll record directly to an SD card. But the cool thing about this one, and I think most of the other Zooms do it too, is you could still plug it into a laptop with USB and use it as an interface. So this one in particular, it's 4 channels if you record to the SD card. If you plug it in with USB as an interface, you get 2 channels. But that's still plenty to do VO.
Well, the nice thing of that is if it's not working the way you want interface wise, you've got the other option if you're
Right.
traveling. You know, it's
Yeah.
oh crap, my computer's
And-
just too loud. I can't deal with this. You know,
Right, exactly. And in that case, you throw your script on your phone or on a tablet, or run down to the to the business center at the hotel and print it out if you have to,
right?
and then just leave the laptop off and record direct to the SD card and edit later.
Yep. And hopefully you don't get what I get sometimes when I travel up north. You get the honeymooners in the room next to you. That's never good. Never good. The loud honeymooners, or the soccer or wrestling team from a high school's coming in to, of course, with COVID right now, they don't have all that as much going on, but they were having a basketball tournament the last time I was up in Massachusetts, and sure enough, about 2 whole floors of basketball players. Man, it was terrible. Terrible. But I was not doing voiceover at the time, so I didn't really care. But different now. I have not, fortunately, have not had to travel since I've been doing VO, and I look for that to probably change by late summer or fall, maybe. I think until all restrictions are off, they're not even going to ask us to. We've got pretty paranoid management, so I'm okay with that for now.
Yeah, my trip is, well, it'll still be a working trip. It'll still be a working trip, so I'm gonna work half days, not necessarily recording things, but doing other work-related activities, researching leads and so forth.
Yep. Yep.
Which, by the way, if you do that, you can write it off. It's a business trip.
I'll be darned. Who'da thunk it?
Yeah. If you do 4 hours or more of work activity, your vacation is no longer vacation. It's a business trip.
Heck, that's the way to go, right? I mean,
oh, my camera just died.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I could see you and you disappeared. You went away. What makes podcasting easy just made it difficult. Where's Will? Where'd Will go? So we've thrown a few things out there to maybe build a travel pack, how to butcher up your hotel room and not tear up the furniture, maybe flip some chairs upside down on the couch, use the comforters, use the pillows. I will say don't use the closet unless it's in the main part of the room. I have seen people have success with that, where they put the comforter inside a small closet if it was out in the main part of the room. But if it's in the bathroom, you're going to get the ceramic tile echo, and you probably don't want that. But yeah, anywhere you can get as quiet as possible, surround yourself with pillows, covers, blankets, whatever, furniture, and you can probably make it work. And I think Will's suggestion to build a travel pack, that's a great idea. I don't want to tear things apart and move them when I travel. I'd like to have a backpack that I could literally go pick it up and take off. That would be a whole lot easier. Even if I don't do it that often, it'd be nice to have it there. Yeah. Just for ease of...
You probably want something like a hypercardioid, which is what the pencil mic I got is a hypercardioid, but you probably want like a hypercardioid or a shotgun mic of some sort, because it's much more focused pickup pattern than a regular cardioid mic, which will help with a not perfect environment. So you'd throw that in the bag, you'd throw your interface in the bag, and whatever else, maybe some kind of a, well, here's something you could do. Those well, you see them in IKEA furniture, the shelves from IKEA that have the squares in them, and they make like a cloth basket that goes in there, basically. So if you take one of those, they're about a foot cube. They're roughly. You can take one of those and line it with acoustic foam, 2-inch acoustic foam, and then put your mic inside there and put your head up to it when you record. And that'll take care of things, and that packs down really tight. It's not perfect, but if you didn't have another option, that's a pretty portable solution that you could build for pretty cheap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can get those things everywhere now.
Yeah. You'll probably have to cut the foam so that it fits, but because they're usually just slightly under a foot. But
Well, that damn thing's metric, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, me. Well, I think we've given everybody some ammunition. I mean, some things they can run with if you're having to travel. And like we said, hey, if you're already doing some of this, your ideas could be way better than ours. Jump on the voiceover ladder page on Facebook and drop some ideas in there after you hear the podcast. We'd love to hear from you. And we're also always looking for things to talk about. So if there's something we haven't covered or you'd like to hear us cover, even if there's somebody who said, well, how come you can't interview such and such? We're not scared to ask them. You never know. We've had some good success with the past ones where it's helped not only some of our folks in the group, but it's really helped the people we've interviewed. It's brought them some business. So no complaints from either side, I hope.
Yeah. Well, and on that note, so the handful of people that we have interviewed all have services they offer, and we've recommended those services. And we do that not because we get any kind of a kickback. In fact, we don't get any kind of a kickback. We recommend them because they're services we've used, and we find them useful and high quality. So we recommend them because it's more of an endorsement. It's hey, I've used this and works good for me. You might like it. Whether you use it or not does not affect us either way.
Nope. We are not sponsored by anybody or anything. Guarantee it.
We make $0 for this podcast.
That's right.
That may not
That's
always
right.
be the case, but if we are ever, if we're ever sponsored or, if we're going to promote something and get a kickback for it, we'll tell you that. That's just the right thing to do. I'm not going to shill for somebody's service that I've never used and get, $20 every time somebody signs up. I'm just not going to do that. And if I were, I would let you know, hey, if you sign up, I'm going to get $20. So, hey, go sign up.
Yeah, I'm getting paid. Sign up. That's why I want you to sign up. I'm getting paid, not because I know what they're doing. And we don't want to ever give you a bad advice. That's why we say a lot of this stuff's opinions. But when we're endorsing these folks, it is because we've used them and we have faith in them that they'll help you. They won't rip you off. They won't send you the wrong way. They're good folks. They have helped us, and they will help you. That's the main reason that we would endorse them as we have and will continue to. And they know who they are, and you know who they are. So, that's
and
what
on that
matters.
note, for other interesting ideas about how to get quality sound in a hotel room, Booth Junkie's got a handful of videos about it, and you might want to go check that out on YouTube. Mike
Definitely a good place
Mike
to
is
look.
good people, and he puts out a lot of really good content.
Yep, he does. Well, I'm out of great ideas, Will. How about you?
Yeah.
At least on this subject. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty
There's
well
only
tapped
so
at the
much we
moment.
can do to your freaking hotel room or your travel trailer. Oh, if you had a travel trailer, wait a minute. No, just kidding. That's a whole
See, now
different
that's the
ballgame.
problem. Most of the travel that I do is going to be camping. Not this next trip, but every other trip I take for the rest of the year is going to be a camping trip, and I'm just not going to be able to work at all.
So that would be a tent in a tent.
Well, it's actually
Good luck with that one.
It's a pop-up, so it's a tent trailer.
Yeah.
I guess in that case, I would just have to do it in the car.
Yeah. A lot of solid surfaces. Good luck with that one. That's all I know. Holy smoke. Screen windows and solid surfaces. All right. Hey, thanks, folks, for joining us. As always, we're here every week, hopefully bringing subjects that you want to hear about. And don't miss out as we roll into spring and summer and very encouraging. I know this is not a political forum at all. I don't want anybody to think that, but it's very encouraging to see these numbers taking a different direction and people are getting out, and we're seeing mass mandates falling off everywhere in Tennessee. Cities and counties dropping them like crazy, and that's so encouraging that whether or not the vaccine works, it's going to get rid of all these mandates and people can be people again. I look forward to being out and seeing people and people not being scared of people. Just
Well,
tired
that ought
of
to be
this crap.
good for business, too.
That's right. It'll help everything. Hey, everybody have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time. And we say farewell from lovely Nashville, and Will can bid us farewell from his lovely
So long,
state.
farewell. I need to say goodnight.
Thanks, folks. We'll catch you next time.
The VoiceOver Ladder is available on Spotify, Apple, and Google. Be sure and subscribe so you don't miss an episode, because we may drop one at any moment. Do we know what we're doing? Not really. But we are learning and making progress, one rung at a time, as we all climb the VO ladder.